Hello and welcome to Financially Street Smart YouTube Live. Welcome. I am Dolores McKenzie, and welcome to Financially Street Smart YouTube Live. Today, we will be talking about the 5 ways to eliminate debt. And before I jump on to the main ingredients of this show today, I want you to like, subscribe, and share. And comment in the chat. Let me know where you're watching me from. So, how many of you would like to be debt free? How many of you would like to be out of debt? Yes, we all want to be out of debt. So, today I'm going to share with you 5 ways to eliminate debt. And just a little bit of disclaimer before I go into the presentation. Please note that this information is for educational purposes only and does not constitute as advice, and the presenter cannot be held responsible for any direct or incidental loss resulting from the application of any information provided in this publication. It is for educational purposes only. Please do not use it for any legal, tax, or accounting advice. I encourage you to seek qualified professional for those type of advice. And any figures I use in this presentation is for information and illustration purposes only. So now let's get down to the meat of the matter. We know, and you probably will agree with me, that financial education is the key to financial freedom. And as you can see, my graphs show you here, without financial education, this is what the ordinary person's paycheck looks like. There is living expenses, in some cases, a whole lot of debt, and of course, taxes, because those things are sure. And the little green sliver you see there is normally what we try to save after we spend. But with financial education, look at the difference. We don't want to change our lifestyle, and you probably will agree with me. But we can show you how to eliminate debt, reduce your taxes, and increase your saving power. And that is one of the main reasons why financial education is so important. Let's talk a little bit about the rule of 72, because compounding interest affects you whether you have debt or you have investments. And we're going to look at right now how the rule of 72 can affect you if you have debt. Say, for example, you have a credit card and you're paying 18% or higher for debt. So what is the rule of 72? The rule of 72 is a shortcut way for you to determine how long it will take your money to double. In terms of investments, 72 divided by the rate of return will equal the time it takes for that money to double. Similar thing happens when you have a credit card or any debt, as a matter of fact. 72 divided by the rate of return on that debt will determine how long that debt will double, especially if you're only making minimum payments. So just be wary of that, and make sure that you are reducing your debt. And that's what I will be showing you. Also, don't be deceived when it comes to good debt and bad debt. Credit cards, of course, are bad debt. Card loans, LO's line of credit, depending on what you're using it for. And of course, when it comes to good debt, we can talk about business loans that would turn a profit. Of course, investment loans, and that turns a profit as well. Student loans, which will allow you to get a better education in order to increase your earning power. And of course, a mortgage, which will, over time, it will have the effect of building equity for you. Now, let's look at the first way. And this is one of the ways that I feel is the best way for you to eliminate your debt. It's called the debt roll-up or the snowball, debt snowball. What is the debt snowball method? It simply means you're paying off your smallest debt first as quickly as possible. And once that debt is paid, you take that money and put towards the next payment, and you keep doing that until all your debts are paid off. And this is a simple example of a debt roll-up. This person has, we'll call her person X, has $26,000 in debt, the smallest, which is $2,000. And of course, you see the rate of return there. So now she's going to apply an extra $100 to that debt that she has accumulated over time. So just pay attention to the amount of debt that she has and what her monthly payments, overall monthly payments are. So with no snowball, as the debt is, the total interest she would have paid over time is over $7,000, as you see on the example. And of course, it would take her over 12 years to pay all that debt off. So just note, without the snowball, she would be paying $7,060.20 of interest. But look at that, just with $100 applied in the snowball fashion to her smallest debt first, then rolling it up to the next and the next over time. Now, instead of $653, her monthly payments is now $753. So look at the difference. You remember at the first slide I showed you what her total interest was going to be. Yes, it was going to be over $7,000, and now it's just $2,866. However, not only that, she will now pay off all that debt in less than 4 years instead of taking 12 years to pay it off. Now you see the power of $100. Isn't that amazing? So the debt snowball is one of the most effective ways. So next you have consolidation. Consolidation means that you have various debts, whether it's credit cards or different bills or loans, and you roll them into one monthly payment. And of course, that for that consolidation, you will have to qualify for that loan. And remember, consolidation does not erase your debt. It is still there. It just lowers the payment so that at least you are not as stressed. So the key thing is, if you have to consolidate, and if you qualify to consolidate your loans, don't get back into other debts. That money that you are saving, you could even add a little extra onto the payment so that you eliminate that debt faster. The third way is mortgage restructuring. And so if you have a mortgage and it's about time to refinance, you can renegotiate the mortgage loan agreement. And of course, it is a form of consolidation. In most cases, when you're renegotiating, you have to requalify for that loan as well, that new mortgage as well. And you would add the debt to that mortgage. And overall, a mortgage payment has a lower interest rate, so that would be the benefit for you. You could also add an extra payment to that to help to reduce the payments over in a faster rate. And of course, you will reduce the interest, overall interest you will be paying. But as I mentioned before, do not be tempted to get back into debt. Use forced discipline to change your habit of spending beyond your means so that you can eliminate your debt faster. It takes discipline. This is just a simple example of how Mr. and Mrs. X would use their mortgage restructuring. So they have a home that's valued at $450,000, and their debt, the existing mortgage is $250,000. Okay, and they have their other smaller debts that they've consolidated now, and of course, their monthly payments is $2,700. So with this, they have the goal to pay off the debt. They also want to provide some income protection in case they get ill, and can't work. They want to have an income still. They want to plan for their kids' education, and they want to have some retirement savings in place, and they also want to save on some taxes. Okay, so what can we do to help them? Most times, most institutions will do a 65% loan to value in terms of our mortgage restructuring. Okay, so and this is what the solution scenario would look like. So of course, we would use using the mortgage restructuring tool. We would help them, to consolidate everything into the mortgage. Their mortgage payment now is about $1,164, but they've opted to add an extra $104 to help reduce the mortgage balance faster over time. And of course, now the extra money that they've freed up, they can put towards those other goals, right? The kids' education, the saving for retirement, and all of that. So this is what it would look like, the proper protection, just in case, right? So this is just an example of what it would look like. And of course, now the only debt they have is at a lower interest rate, which is the mortgage rate. Also, I should say that, for you would have to weigh the pros and cons in terms of how far away is my mortgage renewal, because you could have a penalty as well if you're doing this too early. Most mortgage companies will allow about 90 days or so for grace period if you want to restructure before that. And remember, now you must qualify. And if you know that your credit score is bad, then you may have a problem there. So the next scenario is number 4. It's what we call a consumer proposal. And a consumer proposal is a formal legal binding process that is administered by a LIT, licensed insolvency trustee. And in this process, the licensed insolvency trustee will work with you to develop a proposal, an offer to pay the creditors a percentage of what is owed to them, or extend the time you have to pay the debts off, or both. And with the consumer proposal, you can, in some instances, be qualified to get up to 85% of your debt forgiven. And this does affect your credit rating for up to 3 years after the debt is paid. You must stick with the payments as arranged, or the deal can be forfeited, and you can rebuild your credit while you have this proposal in place. You cannot borrow. It's recommended not to borrow any other monies. You cannot really borrow any other money until the proposal is paid in full. So what are the pros and cons of having a consumer proposal? Of course, you will get the pros. You will get a negotiated debt settlement, and in most cases, you'll get up to 85%. You can get up to 85% of your debt reduced. You repay only a portion of what the total debt is. You will have one affordable monthly payment, and most times it's no greater than 5 years, and you can also pay it off faster with no penalty. And your interest is frozen while you are filing, so you don't pay additional interest on what your settlement is. And of course, it is a legally binding contract for you and for your creditors as well. The cons, your credit rating is affected, as I mentioned before, and you must stick to the payment schedule or it can be forfeited. So next is, and final, we talk about the bankruptcy, which is another way of getting rid of debt. However, it's not recommended. It should be your last resort. And especially if it's personal, it should be the last resort, because the debt roll up and the consumer proposal are there also to help you. And if it's a business, you can choose what is best for you. Get the proper advice, what is best for you. But don't just jump into bankruptcy. When there are other options, I encourage you to explore other options as well. So bankruptcy is a legal proceeding involving a person or a business that is unable to repay their outstanding debts. And the process begins with a petition filed by a debtor, which is most common, and on behalf of creditors, which is even less common. All of the debtor's assets are measured and evaluated, and the assets may be used to repay portions of the outstanding debt. You should understand your debt to income ratio when you're doing this as well. And of course, so understand your debt to income ratio, and also know that you have the option of getting a credit report free from one of the credit bureaus. You can keep ahead of what your credit score is, and keep your debts in check. So that is what I wanted to share with you this evening. I appreciate you for coming on, and allowing me to share. I will leave in the comments a link to my books, The Art of Obedience, 10 Biblical Financial Principles to Change Your Life, and 7 Steps for Mastering the Money in Your Relationship, which are available on Amazon. And also, I will leave you a link to my course, the Total Debt Management course, from Dolores McKenzie School of Financial Literacy. You will find that in the comments as well, so you can have a personalized way of walking through the process of eliminating your debt. It's great to have you all on this evening. Thank you so much for allowing me to share with you, and I look forward to seeing your comments in the chat. Take care.